and welcome back to my YouTube channel and to another video. So in today's video I am sharing some more air fryer recipes for you all to try at home. So if you don't know, I have the Ninja dual zone air fryer. I have owned it for around 5.5 months now and I absolutely love it and I use it every single day. I'm sure if you have an air fryer, you know how amazing they are. They cook so many different foods and they cook them to perfection. I do all sorts in there. I have baked bread, roasted chicken, I've made pies in there, I've made desserts, cookies, you name it, and I have tried it. And I'm always experimenting new foods, trying to find some great recipes to share with you guys. So I really hope you enjoyed today's video. I've got some beautiful recipes in this video. And please, if you do enjoy today's video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, comment down below and let me know if you've tried any of these recipes in your air fryer. And let's get straight into today's video.
So the first recipe I'm sharing today are these gorgeous stuffed potato skins. So I'm starting by using some baking potatoes. They are quite large and a couple are a little bit smaller, but I just washed them and I'm just taking a knife to put some holes in them. Then I'm going to pop directly into my air fryer and spray them quite generously with some spray oil, and then I'm just going to season with some salt and pepper and give them a good shake. And now these are ready to go into my air fryer. So I picked the bake option and I set the temperature to 170 and I baked these for 30 minutes. And after 30 minutes, I came back and checked on them. I just checked them with a fork to see if they were soft on the inside. They were getting there, but not quite there just yet. So I returned into the air fryer and I cooked for a further 10 minutes. So while the potatoes are finishing cooking, I made a start on the filling. So I'm starting by cutting up a red onion. I just used one medium-sized one, and then in a pan I just popped in a little bit of butter, let that melt and added my onions to it. Now I just cooked these for around 5 minutes, not too much, just to get rid of the rawness of the onions. A few minutes later, I then added in 2 heaped tablespoons of taco mixed beans. I just figured these would be really nice in the mix. Once I added them in, I gave it a quick mix, and then I also added in a little sprinkle of crushed chilies. And then after this, I added in around half a packet of this taco seasoning. I just gave everything a really good mix and then I turned off the heat, and by this time my potatoes were done. So as you can see, they are really nice and golden brown on the outside. I just cut each one in half and then I took a large bowl, and all I'm doing here is scooping out the center of the potatoes. Just try and leave a little bit around the corners just so that the skin isn't too soft. And then I'm going to mash this by adding a little bit of butter and milk. Give it a really good mash, and then you can add in the mixture that we just prepared. Just mix everything together, and I've also got a little bit of cheddar here. I'm adding about half of this into the mixture. I'm going to save the other half to top the potato skins. Now just give everything a really good mix to make sure everything is well combined, and then I seasoned with a little touch of salt. Just make sure you taste it, make sure everything is to your liking, and then it's time to fill your potato skins. Just make sure that they are really nice and full. Once you have filled all the potato skins, you can pop back into your air fryer. I did 4 halves per basket, and then I just topped with the remaining cheddar cheese. And then I also added a few jalapeno slices to half of the potatoes, and they went back into the air fryer. So I chose the air fry option for this, and I cooked at 190 degrees Celsius, and they only went in for 5 minutes. I chose the match function to make sure both baskets cooked together. And here they are, fresh out of the air fryer. The cheese is lovely and melted, and then I topped with some Siracha Mayo, and I also garnished with a little bit of coriander, and these were honestly so delicious. These are perfect for any sort of get-togethers or parties that you're holding, so give them a try. So next up, I'm showing you how I make this spicy lamb and veggie pizza. So I'm starting with a pan, spraying with a little bit of oil, adding in some chopped onions and chopped green chilies, and then I'm adding in some lamb mince. Now don't forget, all the ingredients and measurements are in the description down below. So I've just browned off my mince, and now I'm just going to season with a bunch of different herbs and spices. I like to flavour the mince really well. You can add anything that you like. You can use chicken mince or even beef mince, it's entirely up to you. So once I added all my herbs and spices, I just gave everything a really good mix, and I cooked for a further 10 minutes until my mince was fully cooked through, and then we're going to move on to making our dough. So for the dough, I'm taking a bowl and I'm adding in around 1.5 cups of self-raising flour, and then I'm adding in some Greek yogurt, a little bit at a time. I don't like to put it in all at once because I want the consistency to be perfect. So I'm just going to give everything a mix around and gradually add in that yogurt. Once the consistency is coming together as a dough, I will flour my surface and start kneading this dough. So just play around with the dough and continue kneading until it looks perfect. This can take a few minutes, so just be a little bit patient with it. Once the dough has come together, I'm taking a little bit of that and I'm just going to roll it in my hands. Then I'm going to roll out this dough. I like it pretty thin. If you like a thicker crust, then just don't roll it out too thinly. And you just want to roll it out to fit your air fryer basket. So I'm just doing that now. And if you do find that the dough is sticking, just add a little bit more flour to your surface and continue rolling until you are happy with the size. I also like to just stretch it out with my fingers like so, and then I'm just going to pop this onto a piece of parchment paper to make it easier to get it in and out of the air fryer. Then I'm just taking a fork and I'm just going to prick some holes in the bottom of the dough. Now carefully pop into your air fryer basket. So I popped this in on the bake option at 160 degrees Celsius, and I left it in for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, this is what it looked like, and then all I did was I carefully took it out of the basket, I turned it over, and then it was time to start topping your pizza dough. So I've got a little bit of tomato puree here mixed with some water to make it easier to spread. So I'm popping that on the bottom. You can use barbecue sauce if you like, and then I'm topping with my cooked mince mixture. You can add as much or as little as you like. I like my pizza quite packed out, so I'm now adding on some green and red pepper, some red onions, some mushrooms and some jalapenos, and then I'm just using some fiery cheese to top that, and then I just added a little sprinkle of oregano. So then this went back into my air fryer on the bake option at 170 degrees Celsius, and I popped this in for 10 minutes, and 10 minutes later my pizza was all done, cooked absolutely beautifully. As you can see, I just left it to cool for a couple of minutes before I started to slice it up into pieces, and I'm just going to give you a closer look at what this looked like. Honestly, it's such an easy pizza to make. The dough is absolutely delicious. Again, it's so easy to make, only requires 2 ingredients, so please give this one a try if you haven't in your air fryer. So the next recipe I'm sharing is this absolutely delicious jalapeno and cheddar bread. So I'm just starting by making the dough. I've taken a large mixing bowl. I've added in some strong white bread flour. Now I'm adding in some salt and some active dry yeast. Now I've just combined these ingredients together to make sure they are well mixed. And then it's time to add in the oil and some lukewarm water. Now you just want to give everything a really good mix. Everything will start to come together. Do not add any more water or flour. Just keep mixing until this starts to come together. It should start to look like this. And once it does, you just want to flour your surface and you want to play around with the dough and knead it really well. So this kneading process does take around 15 minutes. You want to be really patient with it. The more you knead it, the better the bread will turn out. It will be really nice and fluffy on the inside. side. So I'm just taking my time and I'm just going to continue kneading, and the dough just gets softer and softer as time goes on. So as you can see, my dough is coming together beautifully. So once it starts to look like this and it's no longer sticky, I'm actually going to form it into a ball, and I'm going to take that mixing bowl that I used to mix everything together. I'm going to pour a little bit of oil in the bottom, then pop my dough in there. Now you just want to cover this with some cling film for around a couple of hours, I would say, until the dough has risen like this. So now I'm just going to carefully take this out of the bowl, and it's time to just play around with the dough a little bit, just stretch it out a little bit, knead it just a little bit more, and then I'm going to flatten it out with my fingers. So next you just want to knock out all of the air from your dough like so. Just continue to do this for a minute or so, and then I'm going to fold in both edges. I also prepared some cheddar cheese, which I've grated, and I chopped up some jalapenos. So I'm going to start filling my bread. So I'm starting by filling with the jalapenos. Then I'm going to roll the dough back up. I'm going to roll it around for a little bit, and then I'm going to fill with some cheddar, and just continue to do this until you are happy with the filling. You can make so many variations of this bread. You can fill it with all your favourite ingredients, your favourite bread. You can make it with whatever you like. So I happen to really love this one. It just has a really nice spicy kick to it, and the jalapenos really come through, and it's just so cheesy and delicious. So this is what I chose to fill it with today. So once you're happy with the filling, you just want to roll this dough into a loaf shape. So I usually make the bloomer loaf shape, and that's what I'm going to do again today. Just play around with it, make sure all the edges are tucked in and it's nice and sealed, and then just form it into your desired shape. And now I'm just going to take a knife and I'm going to score the top of my loaf. And then I'm also going to add on some cheese on the top. So obviously the cheese is not going to stick, so you just want to press it into your dough just slightly. And then I'm just going to leave this on a sheet of parchment paper. I'm going to cover it with some cling film for another hour or so, just to let this rise a little bit more before we are ready to pop it into the air fryer. So here it is an hour later, and I'm just going to brush on some melted butter. Just make sure you are quite generous with this. Make sure you brush it on really well all around the edges. I didn't do it so much on the top because of the cheese. And then I carefully pop this into my air fryer basket, and again it fits absolutely perfectly. And then I popped into my air fryer on the bake option at 160 degrees, and this went in for 20 minutes. And 20 minutes later, my bread was cooked perfectly. I carefully took it out of the basket, and I did let it cool for around 20 minutes because it was absolutely boiling. So once my loaf had cooled down a little bit, I went ahead and cut into it. Now this loaf turned out so beautiful. Honestly, it was so nice and crispy on the outside and so fluffy and soft on the inside. And of course I added some butter because the bread was still warm. There is nothing better than fresh bread and some butter on there, and look how gorgeous it turned out. Please try this one if you haven't before.
So I really hope that you enjoyed today's recipes. If you do own an air fryer, then please give these recipes a try. They are super delicious and are fairly easy to make. Let me know what kind of foods you are making in your air fryer. Also, if you want to see me make something that you haven't seen me make before, let me know, and again I will try and do that for you as well. So I really hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. I hope you're all doing super well, and stay tuned for more, and I'll see you in my next one. Take care, guys. Bye.